Hey guys, it's Kelly and I'm back with the follow-up video in my Who Are You Really series. And today we are going to talk about once you've identified the emotions that you're struggling with that have got you stuck. And it's really taken me back to my journey of how I work through this. And it's been a crazy, crazy, worthwhile journey. And so this video we're going to talk about. Sorry about that shake up there. We're going to talk about the next step after you've journaled, and I encourage you to continue journaling because more will come out. You're going to learn a lot about yourself after you've identified what are the emotions, situation, the who, what, when, and where that's got you stuck. And don't feel bad about it. This is life. We all go through this, and it's pretty humbling for me humbling but gratifying to share how I got to where I am today and not being stuck in emotions. I thought I was stuck in my life, but I realize now that it was my unhealed emotions that was keeping me stuck. And it just looked like it was my choices too, but I was stuck because I wasn't dealing with emotions that I needed to deal with. So we're going to address that today. So I've said this before in previous videos. To get over trauma, to get healed from what is ever holding you back, really, because that's what it does. You can't go over a situation. You can't ignore it. It will never, ever go away unless you address it. You can't go around it. To get through emotional trauma, you just got to go right through it. You can't go over the top. You got to go right through it. And I think, in fact, I know that's why there are a lot of hurt people running around, because they don't want to feel it. They don't want to feel it. But that's a part of the growth. That's a part of you taking ownership of your emotions. And the biggest thing with that is what I learned, and you can read about this in books. They'll tell you, you have to honor your feelings all the way to the end. And let me tell you, it's true. I've lived it. I did it. You absolutely have to take the way you are feeling and you have to sit and honor those feelings, which means you have to feel them. And I say feeling it all the way to the end. And that means till they don't bother you anymore. Till you put them to rest. And it takes time. And I was talking with someone today about forgiveness and just reiterating that forgiveness is not for the other party. Forgiveness is for the giver. It's for you so that you don't hang on to these burdens anymore, that they don't affect your life negatively by keeping you stuck and keeping you burdened, because they absolutely will. And I was reiterating today, hey, look, forgiveness is for the giver. It doesn't say, oh, you're off the hook. What you did was okay. It just means that, you know what, I've worked through it, I've grown from it, and I'm going to let it go, which is what we need to do, all of us. It doesn't say that person's behavior was okay, because a lot of times you are not going to get people to not just take ownership, but I think a lot of people don't even want to recognize that it even happened, because we all have our perceptions, and all of our perceptions are developed through all of our experiences. So we all have our own lens to look through. And understanding that about people has really helped me in the forgiveness process, because well-balanced, healthy, emotional people don't make a habit of hurting other people. Hurt people hurt other people. And just understanding that and where they're coming from has made it a lot easier for me to let things go. And it doesn't forgive the act. It just helps me to understand that some people are just so damaged and broken, they don't know any better. And it's a sad truth. It was a sad truth for me, and it might be that for you. But if you've got people in your life that don't want to take ownership of their bad behavior, of their contribution to your emotional hurt, that's okay. Let it go. Start working on yourself. Start by journaling. Start by identifying where, when you keep going back to the same situation, that's what's troubling you. And once you've identified the emotions, sit with them. Own them. Own them until they don't bother you anymore. It could take a week. It could take a month. It doesn't matter. Take your time. Don't rush through it. It won't work. You've got to take each situation and each feeling and work it all the way through. And I also mentioned in the last video that, I did a lot of things wrong in my journey. I, for instance, had a pretty significant death, an unexpected significant death, right around, it was about 15 years ago. And I thought I could just skim over the grief. I don't have to deal with it. I'm just going to go around it. I'm going to ignore it. Didn't serve me one bit. It made me miserable. I gained 60 pounds because I didn't deal with my emotions. I just ate them. And that just made everything worse. So please don't do that. Please don't do that. You got to acknowledge these feelings. That was a major screw up for me. And it could be anything. You can drink them away. You can try, or you can take the bull by the horns and know it's going to be worth it. You're going to be better off, and you can move forward in your life. It was a huge, huge learning lesson. And I remember where I was when my subconscious came forward and said, Kellee, you've got to deal with this. And that's where my grief journey began. It was about 2 years later, and I just heard that voice in my head said, you have got to deal with this. And that was a big mistake that I made. And I hope to God you guys don't make that same mistake, because it didn't help at all. So that was one of my screw ups. Yeah, it's just you taking ownership of your feelings so that you can work through them. And that's a part of your growth. So that means if you're going through this, you know that old expression, I don't know if you've heard this, but it's not happening to you, it's happening for you. If you're going through something, it's because your soul needs that growth. And I've also talked about big picture thinking, and that's where this really comes into play. Thinking about, hey, I need some work in this area of my life. And it elevates you, it frees you, so that you can move on to being the best version of yourself. And don't rush it. It takes time. It takes a long time. But it's totally worth it. So that's my big thing for today. That's the next step after you've identified your emotions, your unhealed trauma, whatever that is, taking ownership of it. And I mean, every feeling, every emotion that you experience that makes you feel bad, that's what you got to sit with. Every single one of them. And just know, it's not going to kill you. It's not going to kill you. You're not going to die. It's going to be uncomfortable and unpleasant. And us humans don't like that. We don't like to be uncomfortable. I don't like to be uncomfortable. But I decided that being uncomfortable for a period of time was better than being miserable for the rest of my life. And so I hope you take heed in that. I hope that something here strikes a chord, or, maybe you have an epiphany, a light bulb moment, whatever it is for you. I hope that you can gather the strength and do that. And that is the next step. First step, identifying your emotions, your trauma. and then taking ownership of them. And then the next video on Friday is going to be about, once you've done that, the next thing that I did was I took my power back. I gave myself the authority to be the authority in my life. I always had it, but I didn't know it. I didn't believe it. So that was me really saying, hey, no, I'm a grown-up. I'm in charge. I can decide how I think, what I say, how I behave, what I do differently in the future. And that's what it is. I just want all of you to be able to move forward in your life and not be stuck by things that you have the power to move through. You can absolutely do it. And please, if you want to share your journey, share it. Also, I don't know if I mentioned this in the last video. I did start a Facebook group, Kellee Benson on Facebook. I started a group called Purpose Seekers. And if you would like to share, because that's the end result. I want to help people work through their stuff, take their power back, and rediscover their purpose. And you find that through your passions. So that's the end goal. But we're taking it step by step. These are the steps that I took that I now am sharing with the entire world. Some unpleasant things about my life, but it was totally worth it. And if I can help, sounds silly, sounds, trite, but if I can help one person move past their ick and move forward and take charge and live the life that they want to live, not the life that they're settling for, because it's just too precious. It's just, this life is too precious of a gift to not be in the driver's seat. Being in the passenger seat, no. You need to be in the driver's seat of your life. So guys, let me know if this resonates. I hope you'll join me for this series. It's pretty empowering. Get a journal, write it down, feel those emotions, and I'll be back to talk about taking your power back. You can do it. I'm rooting for you. Thank you guys so much for watching. And if you really want to make my day, please share it. Share this video with someone who you know could use it. I'd appreciate it so much. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.